They said it would be the end, a formality, a final ruling to put the entire scandal behind us. But what unfolded in court today didn't close the chapter, it tore the entire book open. The final court decision in the Connolly case has landed, and it didn't just implicate the man behind the controversy. It sent shockwaves straight to the highest office in Labour, because for Keir Starmer, this wasn't just a legal outcome, it was a personal, political, and moral collapse. And when the verdict dropped, so did the mask. Starmer didn't contain his fury. Behind closed doors and even in the corridors of Westminster, reports now confirm what insiders feared. The Labour leader lost control, screaming, pacing, and launching into an unhinged tirade, not just at aides, but at the very institutions he once claimed to respect. If you believe justice still matters in British politics, subscribe to Precious Update now, because no one else is going to tell you this part of the story. So what exactly triggered this explosion? The final court decision didn't merely convict Connolly, it revealed layers of political shielding, procedural obstruction, and hidden alliances. In black and white, the ruling states that critical witnesses were delayed, key evidence was redacted under ministerial discretion, and more damning still, that legal backchannels were used to delay the proceedings. And who signed off on those delays? The court pointed directly to Starmer's shadow legal team, the same team he claimed had nothing to do with the Connolly case. The irony? Keir Starmer built his entire brand on justice. He weaponized integrity, sold himself as the antidote to chaos. Yet today, as a judge laid out the deliberate interference by senior Labour figures, including alleged communications between Starmer's aides and Connolly's representatives, the entire illusion crumbled. The verdict wasn't just a legal statement. It was a mirror, one that reflected a party leadership willing to distort due process to protect their own. And now the public sees it too. Outside Parliament, crowds gathered, not in protest of Connolly, but in outrage over Starmer's role in the cover-up. Chants of resign echoed across Westminster Bridge. Petitions exploded across social media, with over 100,000 signatures in less than 24 hours demanding that Starmer step down, not just for misjudgment, but for betrayal. One voter outside Parliament shouted, "We voted for justice. We got manipulation." And that sentiment is gaining traction. Starmer's response? Denial wrapped in indignation. In a hastily arranged press conference, his tone was shaky, defensive. He claimed the court's conclusion was overreaching, and accused political opponents of weaponizing a tragedy. But this wasn't political theatre. This was a legal reckoning. And Starmer, for all his legal experience, seemed painfully unprepared. Instead of addressing the substance of the court's findings, he deflected, blaming staff, blaming miscommunications, even suggesting the system needs reform, the same system he once vowed to uphold. But here's the truth, this didn't happen in isolation. Starmer's fingerprints are all over the timeline. The Connolly scandal had been simmering for months, allegations of misconduct, financial irregularities, connections to foreign lobbying. And through it all, Starmer remained publicly silent, privately dismissive. Multiple internal Labour memos, now leaked, show Starmer repeatedly urging caution, advising MPs to avoid escalating the matter. In one message, he reportedly told colleagues, "We must protect the party's image at all costs." That wasn't leadership, that was concealment. And now that concealment has come home to roost. The court decision wasn't just a legal document, it was a trigger. Already, whispers are circulating inside Labour HQ about succession. Senior Labour MPs, including those once fiercely loyal, are reportedly exploring emergency protocols. "We can't survive another week of this," one Labour insider told reporters under condition of anonymity. Starmer is radioactive. Even allies like Rachel Reeves and Yvette Cooper are privately distancing themselves. Silence, in politics, speaks volumes. Meanwhile, Starmer's opponents aren't holding back. Nigel Farage has taken to the airwaves, declaring this a watershed moment for Britain. If Starmer had any honour, he'd step down tonight. Farage stated, he built his house on trust, and today, that house collapsed. Richard Tice, leader of Reform UK, went further, announcing plans for a full parliamentary inquiry into Starmer's handling of the Connolly affair. Tice didn't mince words, this wasn't misjudgment, it was obstruction, and if Parliament doesn't act, the people will. And they already are. Across working-class constituencies in the north, the very heartlands Labour claim to reclaim, public trust is evaporating. Voters are furious, not just about Connolly, but about what it revealed, that under Starmer, Labour was willing to sideline truth for political convenience. A father in Manchester put it bluntly, "I thought Starmer was different. Turns out he's just another suit playing games." This isn't a scandal, it's a turning point. And the media? The same institutions that once hailed Starmer as a man of principle are now circling like vultures. Even The Guardian, long a soft supporter of Labour, published an editorial titled A Crisis of Character. The BBC's Laura Kuenssberg described Starmer's behaviour as volatile and deeply troubling. Meanwhile, Andrew Neil, never one to pull punches, blasted him in a scathing segment. He was the prosecutor who promised justice. Today he's the defendant in the court of public trust. Inside Parliament, the atmosphere is pure chaos. This morning's emergency session, scheduled to debate NHS budget reforms, devolved instantly. Tory MPs called for a vote of no confidence. Reform MPs demanded immediate transparency into all communications between Starmer and Connolly's legal team. And then it happened. A Labour MP, breaking ranks, stood up and called on Starmer to do the right thing and resign. The chamber gasped. Starmer's face, according to one source, turned pale. It was like watching a king realise the crowd no longer bows. Behind the scenes, Labour staff are reportedly in panic mode. Legal teams are scrambling to issue public clarifications. Crisis PR firms have been brought in. But the truth is, this isn't about spin anymore. The facts are in black and white. The court has spoken, and the country has heard. So where does this go next? It's no longer a question of if Starmer resigns, but when. Pressure is mounting by the hour, and as new leaks emerge, suggesting even deeper involvement in suppressing whistleblowers connected to the Connolly case, the window for political survival is closing fast. Allies are vanishing, momentum is collapsing, and the movement he once led is now leaderless in all but name. This is more than a political story, it's a moral one. A man who vowed to restore dignity to British politics now stands exposed as someone who used that very dignity as a smokescreen, and for the British public, who placed their hope, their trust, their vote in his hands, the betrayal cuts deep. What happens when a leader becomes the scandal he once claimed to rise above? What do we do when justice calls, and the one who promised to deliver it runs from the dock? That's the question this country now faces. This was never about Connolly alone. It was always about the system that enabled him. And now that system has a face, a name, and it's Keir Starmer. If this report brought you clarity, truth, or a reason to question what you've been told, do the one thing they fear most. Share it, subscribe, and make your voice heard. You're watching Precious Update, where facts matter, and truth has no filter.